But first, the ice, the ice, the ice, the ice storm. That is tonight's big story. Now, you know, when Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino joins us at the top of the story, there is some serious weather that's either happening now or it's on the way. Hold on, Matt, it's not your turn yet. Matt, the ice is an obvious concern as we're getting going, but it's going to be super cold too, right, Matt?
It really is, Pat, and that is a big concern as well. Regardless of the ice, the wind chills themselves will be very, very dangerous. But it's the ice that's grabbing most of the attention for good reason. It's going to make travel really difficult, if not next to impossible, as we go into tomorrow night and into Friday morning. We're below freezing already, where you won't get above freezing tomorrow. We won't reach 30 tomorrow. We may not even reach 25 tomorrow. Oof. Very dry air as well. And the east wind is just beginning to ramp up. It's 17 miles an hour now. The latest observations from the airport last hour is like 11 miles an hour. It's just going to keep increasing overnight tonight into tomorrow. So again, it is beginning to happen, even though there's nothing falling from the sky just yet. We'll talk temperatures for a bit, and we'll talk a little bit of weather history too. And we're going to talk about de-icing and flying, because a lot of people, it's terrible timing, Pat, as you well know. Just leave the weather out of it right now. Travel over the next couple of days, Thursday, Friday, before a Christmas weekend, is always a nightmare. Now we have a major storm to deal with here in the west, and then another major storm back in the east too. So temperatures right now, already in the single digits over in Pendleton at 9 degrees there. And as we move north, Spokane is 2, Pullman is 9 below, Oof. And up in Seattle is 22. So this gives you an idea as to what's headed our way. We're still a relatively warm 31 in Vancouver and Portland. But this cold air is moving towards us, and it'll be doing nothing but getting colder overnight. I know you're going to say it always gets colder overnight, and yes, it usually does, but this is different. This is colder air advecting or moving in as we go into the nighttime hours. So let's talk a little bit of history. Some other Arctic events in Portland. Back in 2014, which is really the last time we got this cold, we had a snowfall, though. We had about 4 inches of snow, 3.8 to be exact, at the Portland airport. And back then, the high was 23. And the low was 19. That was on February 6th. That's through the middle of that event. That was our coldest high and our coldest low temperature. Now, just a couple years ago, February, around Valentine's Day of 2021, we had a significant ice storm in the Willamette Valley, especially the Mid-Valley, down around Salem, Oregon City, Canby. Areas like that had well over an inch of ice in some spots. But look at the temperatures then. We had a high of 30. That was our coldest high through that 3-day period, and a low of 24. So yes, certainly cold enough for ice, but not as cold as what we're dealing with over the next couple of days, when the high temperature will be as low as 21. That's the high temperature tomorrow, only about 21, and our lows in the teens, which would be even colder than what we did back in 2014. So for some perspective, that's the difference in temperatures. That was a snow event, 2014, major ice event, although we had snow in Portland back in February 2021. And then this is largely going to be a sleet and freezing rain event. The difference is not the temperatures that we're experiencing down here at ground level, but what's happening above us. We're going to have a warm layer that allows the snowflakes, and the precipitation starts to snow in the clouds, but that warm layer allows those snowflakes to melt into rain and then refreeze when they reach this frigid Arctic air that we're dealing with temperatures like that down here at the surface. So we mentioned travel on the roads. Let's mention travel in the air just a bit. Right now, no delays around the Northwest. All of our airports are doing just fine, which is what we would expect. The sky is clear. It's cold, but that's okay. Airplanes don't mind that. It's beginning to get windy, but it's not super windy just yet. And even down to the big hubs like Los Angeles and San Francisco, Vegas, Salt Lake City, we're not seeing any major delays here at all, which is great. That is going to change. It's also going to change around the rest of the country, which amazingly, not seeing any major delays just yet. But that's because that big storm, we're on the western edge of this Arctic air mass. There's going to be a big storm that forms on the eastern edge of this Arctic air mass. And it's really going to have a big impact on places like, let's put it this way, Chicago is going to have a very bad O'Hare day tomorrow and on Friday because of the delays that they're going to see at O'Hare. You like that one, Pat?
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you. Thank you very much. At O'Hare Airport. So again, that's what's happening there. The question comes up, though, what about de-icers? And we've got some video for you on that. This was in Seattle, I believe, just the other day. And all the major airlines, Alaska and the rest of them, they de-ice their airplanes because they need to do that. The problem is ice is heavy, and the airplanes aren't designed to carry that extra weight. So they have to get the ice off the aircraft before they try to take off. The problem when you have heavy precipitation, especially heavy freezing rain, They can't keep up because there's only so much time after an airplane is de-iced before it has to take off. Otherwise, the ice just starts forming on it again, and they have to de-ice the airplane again. And I've actually been on an airplane when that's happened, where they de-iced it twice and then they took off. But when you have a lot of precipitation in a lot of airplanes, they just cannot keep up. That's not to even mention the work that the runway crews have to do to keep the runway safe. Then there's the problem of equipment. And by equipment, I mean the actual airplane. Taking off, as you well know, Pat, is easier than landing. And so if they can't land the planes, there are no planes here to take off with passengers. So you get into, it's a really complicated dance, and the airlines all have a lot of people that work on this that are very good at their jobs to keep things flowing and moving. But the weather just gums it all up and keeps it from moving. So that's the problem with air travel as we go into Thursday night. And especially on Friday, I expect to see some major issues around Portland and Seattle because of the ice that we're going to get over the next couple of days.